At what point is screaming about this Muslim community center in Lower Manhattan become basically trashing the Constitution of the United States? And with people literally committing suicide because our economy is tanking, how can the right keep screaming about a community center next to, in a neighborhood with strip clubs and Starbucks and churches near Ground Zero in Manhattan, in a depressed area of Manhattan that, if anything, needs more economic activity, needs more investment, needs more activity? Well, let's ask Scott Wheeler. He's the executive director of the National Republican Trust PAC. GOPtrust.com is the website. Scott, welcome back to the program.
Great to be with you again, Thom.
How can your party continue this? The equation that I'm seeing here is 9/11 equals Islam equals Obama's a Muslim equals Democrats are with Obama. Oh, my God, they're all terrible. Let's be terrified of all of them. Let's whip up the Republican base in being scared to death so that they'll show up and vote in the 2010 election, and let's see if we can grab some independence.
Well, I think let's put the blame squarely where it belongs. First of all, the reason people are increasingly suspicious of Obama's roots and anything about him is because there's been a complete media blackout. We know nothing about him personally, and Obama.
The guy's published 2 New York Times best-selling autobiographies. He went through a year and a half of primary challenges.
Thom, since you brought it up, let me quote from one of those books to you, "Dreams from My Father," where Obama says, "If the winds turn against Islam, I'll stand with the Muslims." I guess no one would get anything about that that might indicate where his true allegiances
I don't recall that line in there, but I would guess, having read that book, Scott, I would guess that that you're taking it wildly out of context, and what he is saying is that when the world starts singling out minority groups and demonizing them, that bad things are going to happen as a consequence of that, and we need to stand with those groups.
Well, Thom,
is that not the context in which he was saying that?
You're prepared to tell us what it means?
Well, you seem to be, Scott. You're the one who brought it up.
Well, I'm quoting from the book. You said you didn't even know if that was there, but you could tell us the context
of it. I can tell you the context from having read the book. Have you read the entire book?
I'm explaining to you that it is not the American people's fault that they are suspicious and distrustful of Obama. It's Obama and his mainstream media posse that makes people suspicious of Obama. It's
suspicious of what about Obama?
Because he doesn't tell the truth, he prevaricates, and the mainstream media. Look, since when has the media ever found a Christian that they like? The very fact that the media loves Obama.
Well, let's see, Ronald Reagan, Jimmy Carter.
They really don't think he's a Christian, because generally they hate Christians, and in fact, it was the Washington Post themselves who said that Christians were uneducated and easy to command a few years ago. And so now when they're cheerleading and demanding that we accept that Obama's a Christian, it makes one suspicious. Even, I think, liberals would have to be suspicious. Wouldn't you agree?
No, I find it really astounding. I'm just amazed to hear you say these things. We're talking with Scott Wheeler. He's the executive director of the National Republican Trust PAC, GOPtrust.com. And Scott, this kind of rhetoric that you're throwing around, you really think that this stuff is going to help you win elections in 2010 and 2012? I mean, you may well be right.
Well, if the truth and the facts make liberals uncomfortable, that's a shame. But
so, do you think that Obama is actually a Muslim?
I don't care one way or another.
In other words,
no, I personally, this is my personal opinion. I don't think he believes in anything except himself. I think he's a secular humanist. But it's irrelevant what I believe.
Let's say that he is a secular humanist and who attends church occasionally. Does that disqualify him from being the president? I mean, Thomas Jefferson was pretty openly a secular humanist.
No, the fact that he's not qualified to be president.
George Washington was pretty openly a secular humanist.
No, it's complete not. George Washington?
George Washington, absolutely.
Thom, for crying out loud, what books are you reading?
I'm reading history. I've read Thomas Jefferrson's biographies and his notes on Virginia.
And you don't remember. Well, have you ever been to a tour of Mount Vernon? Because present among the places of recognition are where he knelt and prayed for hours on end.
Oh, yeah.
I guess
Really nice reinvention. Actually,
Well, you need to talk to the historians at Mount Vernon to discuss that. I didn't tell them to say that. And I guess you never read the number of accounts of his soldiers who said that one came upon him and heard him apologizing in prayer to God that he could not make a better prayer, that he couldn't pray any better than he could, or the number of soldiers accounts.
Jefferson wrote that on numerous occasions the churchmen came to Washington and asked him to make a proclamation of his Christianity. And Jefferson wrote in his autobiography, I read it with my own eyes, and the old fox outfoxed them and never made that specific statement. Can you give me a statement of George Washington's to that effect? He never did. But to the larger, rather than debating George Washington, would you like the Muslims to start wearing a yellow star and crescent pinned to their clothing so that we can know who these people are? There was a guy who was walking through the Ground Zero area day before yesterday, and he was dark-skinned and wearing a skull cap, and the crowd came, damn near beat him up. A videographer was there. It's on video. Turns out this guy was a union worker on the 9/11 site.
I saw no such video, and I'm dubious of these claims that Muslims are under threat or about to be beaten up. So far, 9 years after September 11th, we've had nothing but unremitting Muslim violence.
So would you like Muslims to wear a yellow star and crescent pinned to their clothing?
Of course, it's ridiculous. It's a ludicrous thing to say, but there may come a time when Muslims make us, who are not Muslim, wear identification to prove otherwise, and all you need to do is look at the history of Islam to find that that's what they've done in places where they have conquered. So,
Scott,
look,
I am astounded.
Tom, with the bombastic rhetoric,
I'm absolutely astounded that you and the Republican Party are putting this stuff out. I am just astounded.
Putting what stuff? What is it Tom, if you've read my stuff, my column at the Daily Caller, or
yeah, I'm reading your Queen
Trust.
of Jihad column from August 19th. You're talking about, once again, Obama, Pelosi, and the far left are on the wrong side of history, the wrong side of the political constituency, the wrong side of the majority of Americans. Not only do the majority of Americans oppose the Ground Zero Mosque, so do the majority of Democrats. So what? The majority of Americans supported slavery 100 years ago. In 1950, the majority of Americans supported miscegenation laws that forbade...
Are you calling Harry Reid a bigot? Are you calling Harry Reid and Howard Dean a bigot? I
am saying that Howard Dean and Harry Reid are politically mistaken. I think that they are not. They are not hewing.
Your side agrees with us. They're politically mistaken when we say it. We're bigots.
I think you're politically mistaken. Okay.
You guys loved. I mean, you. This is what I love about
Scott, when did I call you a bigot?
Your entire side has. Look what
when did I call you a bigot?
Investigating for
I'm saying that I'm astounded that you're using this kind of rhetoric. I think it's tragic that Harry Reid feels that he has to use this kind of rhetoric because people like you are promoting this in the public discourse.
Do you disagree with those Democrats who call us bigots? Do you disagree with the Muslims who call us bigots because we think that this is more than just a mosque, a place to worship at Ground Zero, that it's more than that? Do you agree with them when they call us bigots?
I don't think it's a matter of who's a bigot and who's not a bigot, Scott. It's a matter of who's using religion and trashing religion for political gain because they want to take political power, because they want to help their rich fat cat friends. That's what I think.
Oh, okay.
And that's what I think you guys are all about in the Republican Party, is let's help the rich fat cats.
Tom,
you don't want the Bush tax cuts to expire, do you?
Tom. No, I don't.
Okay, well, there you
story.
go. Write a $3 million check to all 120,000 richest people in America, like Paul Krugman said today.
Tom, do you believe that people are well-intentioned who want to build that mosque at Ground Zero?
By and large, I do, yeah. They've been working with the Jewish Community Center in the Upper West Side. That's how it came about.
That's incredible.
For more on this and other topics, please visit thomhartmann.com.